Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Well, it's official. Matchroom Boxing have announced that Dillian White, Otto Wallin, is off on October 30, cancelled due to injury. You can see here on screen, this is the press release that has come out, and Otto Wallin off the card altogether, so no replacement to save the main event, so they will default to another fight as a headliner. We'll get to that, but what I'll first do is get to Dillian White's statement because he's devastated. So we will cue some music here and get to the statement. Okay, let's go for something a little bit more appropriate. That's it. I'm devastated as I had a great camp, was in great shape, had great sparring, said White. I was looking forward to knocking Wallin out and would have done so in the first half of the fight. I am devastated about not being able to, it always happens, someone races past in a car, in a vehicle, that sort of stuff, quiet for hours, and then something like that. Anyway, getting back to the statement, I was looking forward to knocking Otto Wallin out and would have done so in the first half of the fight. I'm devastated about not being able to fight October 30, but I want to thank everyone for all their support. So Dillian White's physician, so you've sort of felt that something like this was coming and would be needed, because I can already hear it now. Where's the imaging? Where's the MRI? Chance of that, you know, a la where's the B samples? So this will be the new moniker, I'm sure. So Dillian White's physician and leading sports and exercise medicine consultant, as the press release states, Dr. Harinder Singh, says Dillian sustained a shoulder injury during training in preparation for his planned fight on October 30, 2021, which I've assessed and confirmed with diagnostic imaging. Where's the imaging? Continues, I have treated the injury, but the injury will unfortunately prevent him from fighting on October 30, 2021. With immediate rest, physiotherapy and rehabilitation, there should be no enduring concerns. And then Dillian White's promoter, Eddie Hearn, says Dillian carried this injury for the last couple of weeks, but it worsened in sparring on Monday night, and it was impossible for him to continue, said Matchroom Sport chairman Eddie Hearn. It's a huge shame because Dillian had a great camp before the injury and was ready to go. The show will continue on October 30 without Dillian, and we wish him a speedy recovery and look forward to seeing him back in the ring very soon. And such sort of comments from Joe Markowski from DAZN, who says that the super lightweight unification matchup between Chantel Cameron and Mary McGee now tops the bill as both fighters battle it out. Yada yada yada. Who cares? Let's move on. Dillian White, Otto Wallin, that was the main meat. No offense to this new headline fight, but yeah, it's the card's pretty thin now without that main event. Alan Babbage also on there against the ghost of Eric Molina. You've got Craig Richards also on the card. Yusuf Kumari, also Johnny Fisher, prospect. Ellie Scottney, another women's prospect. Jordan Thompson, a cruiserweight. You've also got Thomas Carty on the card there, John Hedges. Most of these prospects or nothing really of note. So it's a shame because White and Wallin was the main interest, the main meat of that card. But yeah, you got to be pulling your hair out if you were DAZN having to now. They don't have much on the schedule really, so it's not great at all. I mean, I was actually going to, because I've been judiciously using my DAZN subscription, even though I'm still at $2.99 a month or whatever. For weeks on end, there was no fight camp in New Zealand. That was on another broadcaster, so I had to cancel all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I digress. So Otto Wallin, one of the takeouts there, so he's not on the card. He will not be getting a late replacement. Earlier on Facebook, see here on screen, and this was just before that statement by Matchroom was issued, said, we haven't heard yet from Matchroom, so we don't know what's official, and we don't want to jump to conclusions without the facts. But if the fight is called off for any reason, and we know it is now, the fair and proper thing to do would be to reschedule, and perhaps that we will rely on Matchroom to do the right thing and on the WBC to protect the integrity of the sport and order that fight happen. order the fight happen, I should say. Statement by Team Wallin on Dillian White injury news. The previous video, Dimitri Salita was singing the same sort of thing, so they're all on the same page there, but the reality is, Otto Wallin wasn't in the WBC top 15 when this fight was announced. He was handpicked for this fight. He was brought in to be a B-side with some name recognition that they could sell this fight in terms of a decent event. Obviously, they couldn't sort of get those fights like Jermaine Franklin over the line. DAZN obviously didn't want to pull the trigger. This one here with Wallin having fought Fury. But the reality is there's probably got to be all sorts of outs for Dillian White in Matchroom for the contract. And why would they need that? Because obviously with the order from the WBC saying that if a fight between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk can't be made within 30 days, well then Fury will be ordered to fight the WBC interim champion, which at the point of time that we record this video, Dillian White remains. He's had that for a while, and he actually has the WBC in arbitration. He has been trying to force their hand for different bits and pieces over recent years to make them give him a title shot. And seemingly, they have sort of said, well, if you get past Otto Wallin, effectively you're going to get the shot. But without Wallin being in the way, well, there's no impediment to it getting made. So after the 30-day order is up, likely I'm sure we're going to hear that a fight between Tyson Fury and Dillian White is going to get made. And I know there will be a lot of people going, well, what about Otto Wallin? What about poor Otto? He's just had a full camp. He's obviously invested a lot of money into a training camp, and he's going to get no result here. So who knows whether they're going to make him whole for the costs and cover that in terms of whatever's... I mean, who knows what's in the contract here? That really is a question. But I guess judging by the fact that Wallin and also Dimitri Salita's promoter keep saying Matchroom do the right thing, WBC do the right thing, they probably don't have too many protections, let's face it. So we're not going to get that fight. But going back to that main event, it's going to be Mary McGee versus Chantel Cameron, Alan Babich and Eric Molina. Presumably the way that it's listed here is going to be the co-main event. It's not great, is it? It's a shame that this fight has fallen over. No offense to people who like women's boxing and obviously the gimmick that is Alan Babich, but it's not quite the same as having a bigger heavyweight fight on the card that was headlining the bill in White and Otto Wallin. But it is what it is. Boxing always fails to, or always delivers on the disappointment front. There is more disappointment than joy in the sport of boxing, and for some reason we're gluttons for punishment and come back for more. But anyway, what do you make of this, and do you think there's any redress for Otto Wallin? Because certainly he's calling for it. They want it. They want the fight to be rescheduled, but I think they may be pushing a certain boat, down the river against the current, and they're going to get washed away onto the rocks. I don't think they've got any show at all. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.